The NBA hates what the Golden State Warriors are doing. As you all know, the Warriors have made some big moves this offseason, but it seems that they are not done just yet. In today's video, we're going to be going through the potential moves the Golden State Warriors are making just before the NBA season starts, and also the big moves that they have already made that is going to make them win another NBA championship. So make sure to like this video, and guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it means the world if you can subscribe to the channel, hit that red button down below. The first is that the Golden State Warriors are looking to re-sign Klay Thompson to an extension, and it would also be for a massive pay cut. Now, as you all know, Klay Thompson is near the end of his contract, and it has been rumored up in the air whether the Warriors will actually offer him a contract extension, and especially with the budget that the Warriors have, if they can still afford him. But it does seem that Klay Thompson is interested in re-signing with the Golden State Warriors and also doing it at a pay cut in order to get a superstar next season, especially during the offseason. Now, a lot of NBA teams were desperately waiting for Klay Thompson to become a free agent, as he is probably the second greatest shooter in the NBA. And with that being said, I do believe now that is off the table, and a lot of NBA teams are super upset. They definitely wanted someone like Klay Thompson, but it does seem that he is going to be staying a Warrior, and on top of that will be taking a pay cut in order to even make the Warriors better, especially during the next free agent offseason. I think Klay Thompson can still provide a lot to any NBA team, and especially the Warriors. He is a match made in heaven. Klay Thompson last season averaged 21.9 points, 3.6 rebounds, and also 2.4 assists. So he did a fantastic job all season, and also had a 42% three-point percentage with a 56% effective field goal percentage, which is very high, especially for that shooting guard position. Now, when it comes to Klay, yes, his value may have dropped ever since his injury due to the fact that he may not have the same athleticism as before, but I'm telling you right now, Klay Thompson on offense has never changed. He's still a really great shooter, honestly very good in the post-up situations, and can still play much better defense than half the players in the league. So I do believe Klay Thompson still has a lot of value, and being able to keep him at such a cheap price not only makes a team better by getting a free agent hopefully next offseason, but it also frees up a lot of cap space to do other things, or even offer it to maybe some of the younger guys that could have a breakout season. So when it comes to Klay, he is going to be staying a Warrior very soon. It seems that the contract extension talks will probably happen earlier on in the season, before the contract deadline does happen midway through the season. So that is going to be an exciting time to see what Klay Thompson and the Warriors agree to. The second is the Golden State Warriors secretly signing Usman Garuba. Now, as you all know, Usman Garuba was actually signed just recently to the Golden State Warriors, and this went completely under the radar. As you all know, Usman stands at 6'8", 220 pounds, and is also great at 21 years old. Now, he most recently played for the Houston Rockets, where he averaged 3 points, 4.1 rebounds, and 0.9 assists, and he did this on only 11 minutes of game time. Now, I think this is probably one of the biggest steals in this offseason due to the fact that Usman is still a very young guy, but plays with a lot of experience. Now, he was a first round 23rd pick in the 2021 draft. He did only play for the Houston Rockets so far in his first 2 seasons, but I do believe Usman definitely has the capability to be a great player due to the fact that he plays such mature type of basketball. On top of that, like any Golden State Warriors fashion, they love three-point shooters, and he has a great three-point shot of a 40% three-point percentage last season, and also had an effective field goal percentage of 55%. So he also did this playing for a team such as the Houston Rockets, and I think he will be able to do a lot more, especially with a team like the Golden State Warriors. Like I mentioned before, guys, he's 6'8", 220 pounds. It seems that the Warriors are adding a lot of size to this team for next season, and I think it is going to pay dividends in the future. They already have Kevon Looney, now they added Dario Saric. Jonathan Kaminga is still there, thankfully, and now Usman Garuba to add to that mix. And it does seem that they are not done yet due to the fact that they are looking to sign 1 or 2 more free agents, and I think Garuba is definitely going to prove a lot of people wrong. Garuba even said in the most recent interview that he said that they are not ready for what they are about to see, and he said this in the most recent interview where he was asked on what it's like joining the Golden State Warriors. So I do believe Garuba is going to have himself a really great breakout season. We've seen Golden State Warriors in the past really get young players to develop in such a way that makes them into an absolute star. We've seen this with Jonathan Kaminga, we've seen this with Gary Payton II, JTA, all these young guys that when they have been in a Warriors uniform, that is when they played their best basketball. So we probably will see the same from Usman, and I think he's probably going to be the underrated superstar for this team in this next season. The third is the Golden State Warriors keeping Jonathan Kaminga. Now, as you all know, Kaminga has been a fantastic player for the Golden State Warriors, but this offseason he was very close on being traded out and was on the trading block for some time. A lot of NBA teams were super interested in getting someone like Jonathan Kaminga since they know the potential that he has. Kaminga, 6'8", 210 pounds, 20 years old, can literally jump out the gym and also average 9.9 points, 3.4 rebounds, and 1.9 assists. So he did a fantastic job last season in his second season in the NBA, and a lot of NBA teams definitely wanted him in their uniform. However, Golden State Warriors have made the decision to keep Kaminga for one more year, and they think they can probably get the best out of him coming into this next season. And even Kaminga said himself that this may be a make or break season for his career in a Warriors uniform, and he is going to become the best version of himself. So not only will we see a better and bigger version of Jonathan Kaminga, but we are expecting a version we have never seen before, especially in a Warriors uniform. So I do believe he definitely has a capability, especially coming into this next season, to really help them in the playoffs, and if they get into the finals, help in the finals as well. Kaminga has taken a bit more of a smaller role here and there over the last 2 seasons, especially even when they won the 2022 NBA championship, but now Kaminga is stepping up to the plate, and I think he is capable of doing what he is capable of doing. Now when it comes to other teams, obviously they did want him. There were a lot of trade scenarios with Toronto, Brooklyn Nets, you know, the list really does go on and on. Even Washington Wizards, when they were traded for someone like Jordan Poole, they wanted Jonathan Kaminga in that mix as well. But it seems that he is going to be staying a Warrior, and I think that is probably the most important thing, and he's going to surprise a lot of people this next upcoming season. The fourth is the Golden State Warriors potentially signing Dwight Howard. Now, as you all know, we did talk about this last video, but Dwight Howard was invited to training camp for the Golden State Warriors, and he also has a meeting with Steve Kerr and the front office. So it does seem that the Warriors are very interested in getting Dwight Howard in a Golden State Warriors uniform, and it may be sooner than you think. Now, Dwight Howard recently has been playing in Taiwan, but his last season in the NBA was the 2021-2022 season, where he averaged 6.2 points, 4 rebounds, and also 0.6 assists. So he did a fantastic job for the LA Lakers at that time, but I do believe now that he can still come back and play some solid minutes while also doing that at a great way of showing more experience to the younger guys and giving that veteran experience that is much needed. When it comes to Dwight, he's still 6'10", 265 pounds, and is still 37 years old. However, I do believe he still has the athleticism of a young 30-year-old, which is why I still think he can play 10 to 15 minutes and can give a lot to this Golden State Warriors team. Dwight Howard is definitely an inside center, great defensive presence. He is a 3-time defensive player of the year. He's also a 5-time rebound champ, NBA champion, and he has all these other accolades to back it up. Dwight Howard is a great defender, and that is something that the Warriors desperately need due to the fact that the Golden State Warriors last season actually had the biggest dip in their defensive rating all throughout their whole Golden State Warriors era, ever since Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and all these other players have joined. When it comes to that era, they actually ranked in the bottom half and exactly 20th in defensive rating last season, where in the season before that, where they actually won the NBA championship against Boston, they were actually ranked 2nd in defensive rating. So they definitely took a huge hit in their defense, and I think now adding more defensive players like Dwight Howard and giving more minutes to players like Jonathan Kaminga, Gary Payton II, all these others can definitely play huge dividends in the future, especially when it comes playoff and championship time. The fifth is the Golden State Warriors trading for Chris Paul. Now, this was a very surprising trade due to the fact that Chris Paul is 38 years old, and on top of that, he is near the end of his contract and also at the end of his career. Now, when it comes to Chris Paul signing with the Golden State Warriors, it have may been the best move I have ever seen this offseason, because I think it is going to add a lot of different depth to this Golden State Warriors team, and a lot of NBA teams are not ready for what is about to happen. When it comes to Chris Paul last season, he averaged 13.9 points, 3.8 rebounds, and also 8.9 assists, and on top of this, he had a great 3-point percentage of 38%. Now, what I do believe Chris Paul is definitely going to have a huge asset to this team is definitely his structural offense that is definitely going to help players like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins. The list really does go on and on for them to actually get open. Chris Paul, we've seen throughout his whole career, be able to take average players, and I'm not saying Golden State Warriors roster is average, but he's able to take anyone and really get the best out of them. We've seen this happen so many times. If we look at the Lob City times with Chris Paul and the LA Clippers, we saw that he brought the best out of Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, and we've never seen a greater version than with Chris Paul. We've seen the same when Chris Paul joined the Houston Rockets and was able to take James Harden and the rest of the team to the Western Conference Finals. And we've also seen the same where he brought the Phoenix Suns to the NBA Finals as well. So there's there's definitely a lot to Chris Paul, and he can definitely help any team grow. And I think Chris Paul is definitely the missing piece that they need in order to bring the best out of Steph, out of Klay, out of Draymond, all these great players. And I do believe that Chris Paul is going to have a huge success with this team. I think this is going to be Chris Paul's last shot at actually potentially winning a ring. And I do believe Draymond has said in a recent interview that this is going to be his year, and he is going to do anything he can to help Chris Paul win his first ring in a Warriors uniform. So I love the camaraderie that they have already built with CP3, but I do believe a lot of the NBA think that this was a joke of a trade due to the fact that he is a point guard and Steph Curry is already a point guard. But I'm telling you right now, Chris Paul is able to do a lot of great things, and he's going to help these players become the best versions of themselves.